Welcome all to another episode of Brews and Banter FC. I'm your co-host, Redbeard, along with Targo. Join us as we dissect the action-packed week in the Premier League, from stunning goals to controversial calls, and join us as we analyze the performances of your favorite teams and players.
But that's not all. We also go over the latest football news from around the world and give you the biggest headlines to watch out for on Super Sunday. So whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, we've got you covered with the latest insights, debates, and predictions. This is Brews and Banters FC, and it starts right now.
What up, my dude?
How's it going, man? What a week of football.
I know. And as of this recording, we have one day of football left.
One day.
Premier League season. Whew! What a whirlwind it's been. So to drown it down or to celebrate, however this ends up playing out, my friend, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking Icicle Brewing Company Enchantment's Hazy IPA. So this is the eighth beer in their Enchantment series.
I was going to say, that's a new one. I got an email about that, but I wanted to try it. So
this one's called Rune.
Yeah.
So it's a hazy. I love hazies.
I know you do. Let us know what it is, how it is.
That is a good hazy IPA. Has kind of tropical notes. Slight orange, maybe tangerine, something like that.
Nice.
So that is a tasty, light, smooth drinker. I'm going to give it a 8.8.
Wow, 8.8. I thought you were going to go higher. One. I thought you were going to go higher with your description of it there. All right, my friend. Here we go.
I read it off the can before this, sorry.
Drum roll. I have Boulevard Brewing Company's Sticky Bun Alert Cinnamon Bun Ale.
Did you say Sticky Bung?
Bun.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, Sticky Bun Ale.
Well,
I'll read off the can because it says, "I'm a sinner" with a C and a saint.
Cinnamon.
And on the other side, it says "Rollin' in Dough," but it is a 9.5% ale.
Ooh, that'll be
from Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah. I was excited kind of about this because I was like,
it could be.
Yeah, it's a very fun can. That's why I got it. But I was like, it could be light and just really like strong. And then I poured it.
It could be maple syrup.
Yeah, and I poured it and it's like maple syrup. So I haven't tried this yet. Certainly smells like maple syrup.
Ooh, I don't think you're gonna like it then. Didn't you have one recently that was maple syrupy and you thought you liked it?
Yeah, I didn't like that about quarter of the way through. Yep. This one is interesting. Although the consistency is like maple syrup, the finish is really light, and at the beginning it's a little bit of cinnamon and it's very sweet. So for most people well, yeah, I was gonna say for most people that like cinnamon buns, this tastes just like a cinnamon bun with an ale finish. However, I don't like sweet, so this one's not for me, but I will get all the way through it before the end of this episode. Mark my words.
I'm going to rate the sweet.
Yeah. Well, salty, sour, depends on the day. I'm going to give this a solid, I'm going to go 6 out of 10.
Not very good. Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's just not my jam.
But it's not good.
Yeah. All right. Targo, before we get into our news, let's get a word from our sponsors.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing.
All right, Targo, news. Probably not news to you. Bayer Leverkusen still undefeated.
Oh, imagine that.
50 games now. 3 games left until they win a treble and go the whole season undefeated in all competitions. Setting record.
Yeah. 3 games. They have 1 game in the Bundesliga, Europa League final, and the DFB Pokal.
Yep.
You see them losing, drawing, doing anything in those games other than winning?
No. No.
I mean, Augsburg in the Bundesliga, okay, should beat them. Atalanta in the Europa League final, could maybe.
Could be. I mean, they beat Liverpool, so.
Atalanta has been playing well. Then FC Kaiserslautern in the DFB Pokal.
I think the only tricky one there is the Europa League final.
Yeah.
But I still, they've done it all season. I'm not going against them now.
I hope they do it at this point now.
Undefeated.
Just do it. Make history. This is freaking awesome.
So yeah, to add off of that, if they do win the treble, go 53 games unbeaten, saying where they were last season and what they did last season, should it be considered the greatest club season of all time?
I want to say yes, but because it's Europa League, not Champions League, it's tough. But to do it undefeated, man, that's...
Well, again, think of where they were last season, right? When Xabi Alonso took over, they're in
the relegation zone.
And they finished, was it 6th last season?
Sixth, yeah. I mean, Europa League.
Yeah. And then from there to go an entire season undefeated in every single competition, I don't think anybody, anywhere, put that down as a bet or on their bingo board. I'm telling you.
I think you're right. I mean, you probably could have bet them doing well, potentially, I guess, winning the Bundesliga. I didn't have them for winning the Bundesliga.
I didn't. Yeah.
But doing it undefeated, that's something else, man.
Especially when the one team that, has won the Bundesliga for 11 years in a row until this year signed Harry Kane, which was like the missing piece. So
the curse.
It is real. They win nothing this year. All right. Speaking of winning things, Olivier Giroud has signed for LAFC. The man
coming over to the MLS.
Yeah. LAFC sit currently 5th in the West and are 4 points. It says pints. 4 pints off leaders Real Salt Lake. Is Olivier Giroud the most underrated player of all time?
I don't know. I know you don't underrate him. So I said he had a better career than Neymar.
Yeah. I mean, he's won everything.
World Cups, Europa Leagues, Champions Leagues. Yeah, I mean.
Everything. He's won the league title everywhere he's been as well. Except for Arsenal.
Milan?
Nope. Won the league title with Milan.
Did he? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, good on you, Ollie.
He's still doing it, too, in Serie A. I mean, this season in Serie A, 14 goals, 8 assists, and 33 appearances.
Yeah, I would love to see how many minutes he played in those 33 appearances, because he's coming off the bench a lot this season. But, I mean, good for him. Go work on your tan, get your final paycheck, and, in the words of Olivier Giroud, it's not his fault he's gorgeous.
He'll be doing just fine in LA then, of all the other
gorgeous
people.
Yes, he will. All right. Speaking of the United States, some interesting news is Jesse Marsch has been named head coach of the Canadian national team. Former coach of the United States national team, he is now hopping the border and taking over a promising Canadian national team. What are your thoughts?
It'll be interesting. I think he could do a good job. That Canadian national team has some quality players.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he could turn them into a CONCACAF powerhouse here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, would they make the next World Cup, but they've already qualified because they're hosting it. But yeah, I think they'll do better than they did in their first ever World Cup with Jesse Marsch at the helm. It'll be interesting to see in the Copa America this year if he goes up against the United States. I'd put my money on Canada to win because he knows that team inside and out. All right. Comes to no surprise that Raphael Varane will be leaving Manchester United at the end of the season. They signed him for $50 million in 2021. He had 93 appearances for this club. I'm not going to say it's his club because you would think Real Madrid is his club. But how would you rate his career or describe his career at Manchester United?
Underwhelming, injury prone.
Probably
the best
failure.
way to describe it. Yeah, I mean, even just Erik ten Hag didn't fancy him for a majority of this season. When he was fit, he was sitting on the bench. I mean, there he was sitting on the bench, a World Cup, Champions League winner, and Ten Hag's like, nah, bro, you can ride the pine.
I mean, he was a healthy scratch against Newcastle. So
I don't think he's healthy, man. I don't. They're like on their 8th choice center back pairing in Casemiro and Johnny Evans. Lisandro Martinez made the bench.
That was it.
So he's back.
Okay. Never mind that.
How would you describe his career at United?
I think you summed it up pretty well, but complete and utter failure for a guy who had a lot of promise going into United off of, winning everything at Real Madrid. Kind of like Casemiro. We'll see when his career finally ends at United if it's the exact same thing. So,
tough with Casemiro.
Aging Real Madrid stars going to Manchester United to die. It's like they're the new MLS of the Premier League. But all right. It has been reported that the French Football Association are considering awarding your boy, Robert Lewandowski, the 2021 Ballon D'Or title. I know you said this was one of the biggest...
I said it was the greatest robbery in Ballon D'Or history.
It's not really a robbery because they didn't award it to anybody.
Should have had it.
Yeah, anyways, the Ballon D'Or that year got canceled due to COVID, as everybody knows. He scored 55 goals, 10 assists, 47 matches, won the treble, the Champions League and Bundesliga Golden Boots in Hansi Flick's side. Who do you think will be the biggest robbery if he does get awarded the Ballon d'Or for 2020?
So if he does win it and there's no longer that robbery, I mean, he got robbed again in a Messi-Ronaldo year. I think it was 2019 or 2021. I can't remember. But man, that Thierry Henry won. Yeah, that Thierry Henry won in, was it when France won the World, or they lost the World Cup final to Italy?
Yeah.
He was in a World Cup final and Champions League final.
And Golden Boot winner everywhere. Player of the season winner in the Premier League. Yeah, and some guy named Nedved who had an underwhelming season.
Oh, both of them. There's that season too, honestly.
Yeah. So, my next question was going to be, are you going to come back to the dark side on the Henry debacles? So, sweet. Okay. Speaking of the Premier League, this was an interesting one. This just came out, I think, today. EPL will vote on June 6th to abolish VAR starting next season. Wolves brought forward a proposal citing various reasons, including questioning the integrity of both VAR and the league. What are your thoughts on this while I try to find the things that they put in their report?
I don't think anything will come of it, if I'm being honest. I think VAR is here to stay. I know Wolves have had some egregious calls go against them. First opening game of the season, that Onana coming out and punching whatever Wolves player in the face. That Newcastle penalty that went against them. So I'm not surprised, but I don't think it'll go anywhere. I think VAR is here to stay.
What would you do?
I think it can be improved. That's for sure. There needs to be some better training or some more competent people in the booths. I mean, you can't have perfectly fine goals being chalked off to offsides or things like that, or drawing lines in the wrong place. So what's funny is we brought in VAR to get rid of the human error, but the human error just shifted, it seems like, to other aspects of the game.
Well, I think the first problem is that it's not actually even in the stadium.
It's away somewhere else.
It's somewhere else.
That's a lot, though, with all kinds of sporting, like, for example, here in the NFL, I mean, they look at stuff all the way across the country as well.
Just give them a booth inside of the stadium so they can watch the game live and then do their thing with the lines. I know they have places for it in the stadiums. Anyways, things that Wolves complained about, things like impacting goal celebrations, which makes football special, frustration and confusion inside stadiums due to lengthy checks and poor communication, overreach of VR's original purpose to avoid clear and obvious mistakes, like you just said. Yeah, no accountability, continued errors, VR decisions overcast, putting a shadow on games, pretty much not even looking at the game itself, looking at one decision. I'm going to say that I'm okay with getting rid of VAR as long as they keep semi-automated offsides. then they get rid of the human error. I mean, just like goal line technology, it works every single time.
There was an instance where it didn't.
Over the goal line?
Yeah. There was one instance where it didn't work.
Okay. Well, one out of how many?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Where we have VAR, it seems like it's 50-50 chance they're going to mess it up. Especially this week. But we'll get into that. I'm all for semi-automated offsides and giving the ref back more power. That's really, at the end of the day, that's really what I want to happen. You know, if VAR literally just says, hey, you should go to the monitor and check this, and that's the only power they have, fine. Otherwise, scrap it. Get rid of it. I don't want it.
I feel like the qualification for the referee to go to the monitor and look at it is too high, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it should be anything that looks questionable.
You know,
and let the referee decide.
Just let them be sure of their call that they made on the field. You know, that's all we're kind of asking. But it seems like, dang, you have to damn near break a leg for them to go look at a potential red card.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think on our TikTok, Brews Banter FC, our Instagram, Brews FC, Facebook group, YouTube. Make sure you just comment down below. They also have changed the dates of the transfer windows, my friend.
I did see that. That one was interesting.
Yeah, it opens, was that 15 days earlier? So June 14th to August 30th. And then they extended the transfer deadline in January to February 3rd instead of the end of January. So a couple extra days in there makes a big difference.
Yeah, we'll see if a few more transfers happen, because I know this last January was boring. Nothing happened. But moving on to the Premier League, man, let's talk about the title race. The important thing. The only thing that really means anything right now, since all the other titles and a majority of the other leagues have already all been decided, except in the Premier League. Let's start with our boys, Arsenal, shall we?
Okay.
Had a big game against Manchester United at the weekend at Old Trafford. Came out 1-0 winners, thanks to Mr. Old Man taking a Sunday jog out in the park. Mr. Casemiro could not get up quick enough. Playing Kai Havertz offside. Like, what was he doing, dude?
He looked confused and lost.
He did. That. He looked like a confused
He looked like
man.
he was trying to get open for Onana to hit him with a pass or something, and then just like walked forward.
Well, Onana is looking to play it out, plays a terrible ball out, but Casemiro's just like not sprinting to the where the other defenders are. He's just taking a stroll, man. Sunday stroll. That's what all he was doing. Yeah, and that mistake would cost them because they lost because of that goal.
Credit to Ben White as well to see Kai Havertz down the line and to play that ball, and then Kai Havertz to play the ball to Leandro Trossard, because that man is on fire. Both of them. Yeah, Trossard, man. Is he the most underrated player this season?
For me, yeah, 100%. Talk about value too.
17 goals in all competitions this season.
Value. They paid less than $30 million for him. I mean, that's
steal compared to who they were linked to in Mihajlo Mudryk. Who I haven't done shit except for got more tattoos. Yeah.
And so with that win, Arsenal now, they made history, man. They have the most wins in a season for their club. So Arteta, he might not be winning trophies, but he is making history, which I think is...
progress.
It's progress.
Progress. And that's all we ask for right now.
I've seen a lot of stuff, too, like, oh, he's spending all this money and they're not winning any trophies. They should fire him, can him,
Look where they were when he took over.
But not only that, look at the way they're playing.
Shit team with a bunch of dead wood. Now they're considered one of the best teams in the world.
And
with probably the best defense in the world.
Best team in the world.
Yeah. So, and I mean, just to think, I think everybody's overlooking the fact of how good Manchester City have actually been over the last, 6-7 years?
Since
Pep took over. Like, Sir Alex Ferguson didn't get more than, I think it was like 83 points in any season he won the title.
Yeah, I heard some fact that like the average title winning squad would have was better than
until Pep Guardiola
yeah.
was in the 80s. Yeah, now it's like minimum is 90, if not like 95. That's insane. It's insane. So, I mean, credit to Mikel Arteta. He's got him playing wonderful football, shored up the defense. Again, might be one of the best defenses in all of Europe, if not the best.
And you can argue this team is better than the team last season.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, last season they were leaking goals left and right. So,
and he's had to make some big decisions, man. Dropping Ramsdale, bringing in Raya,
and they pay off.
Buying Kai Havertz,
turning him into one of the best players in the Premier League. I'm not saying he's in the top 10, but he's in the top 20 this season. So, at least for me. I don't know about you.
And then signing Declan Rice, who's not looking like that 100 million price tags holding him back at all.
No. I love the Arsenal fans song where they say Declan Rice, we got him for half price. So, it pretty much sums up how good he's been this season.
Well, we'll see. West Ham play Man City at the final
Do
day.
it for Declan. Do it for Declan.
If Arsenal win the title, West Ham will get a cool $5 million.
Yep. And they're not making Europe this season, so that's what they got to play for, an extra $5 million.
That's right. But kind of going to the other side of it, Arteta. Then let's look at Erik ten Hag, man, who started his Manchester United career. United did, I would say, well, made Champions League, won a trophy, but they have regressed.
Yeah.
They're much worse off this season. You know, could you blame it on injuries?
You could. He is blaming it on injuries. I will say that. I will say his press conference after the Newcastle game was probably the most down-to-earth and least gaslighting of any press conference I've seen him make in a while. Maybe it's because they finally won a game. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to give him, I know you're going to ask me, should he stay or should he leave?
Should he stay
so
or should he go now?
I'm just going to go into it and say, well, one, are you going to be able to get somebody better? Probably not right now.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spot then. Give me a three-person short list.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go
Realistic.
Realistic.
Don't throw Zidane out there because we know he's not going.
Michael Carrick.
Okay.
From Middlesbrough. You got McKenna at Ipswich, who was former assistant coach at United. Maybe that's too big of a jump for him, but it's a realistic option. Thiago Motta at Bologna. They just made the Champions League. That might be a good one. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I keep saying it and you keep saying I'm crazy for it. Antonio Conte is available. The team will have a better defense. They can't be any worse than they are now with a better defense. So,
what about some names that keep getting thrown out there? We've heard Gareth Southgate, Thomas Tuchel. What about Hansi Flick, or maybe bring back the special one?
So for me, it's you want to get someone who plays a similar style to Erik ten Hag.
Counter-attacking?
Yeah.
I don't think Man United fans want their team playing a counter-attacking football.
Well,
it's Manchester United. They're supposed to be the dominant team, not the counter-attacking team.
I'm just saying, if you are saying this is a transition, you spent so much money, you want to keep it similar, not completely redo everything for the, fifth, sixth time in how many years since Sir Alex Ferguson?
I mean, why not, though?
Because you're just regressing.
What could happen? They finish 8th in the Premier League? They have one of their worst seasons they've ever had, like they have this year?
I mean, I will say injuries did play a part in this.
You have a negative goal difference of minus 3 negative goal difference? I mean,
-4, yeah.
I'm done making worse, I guess.
I'm done making excuses, but I would love to see. I mean, we saw what Erik ten Hag did with a fully healthy squad, right? We won a Carabao Cup, got him to 3rd. I would love to just see one more season with a decently healthy squad where he doesn't have like his whole back four out, his striker, his winger in the worst form of his life, half his midfield out. I don't know. That's just me.
I forgot, man. I forgot
Luke
Shaw plays for Manchester United. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while.
No, he's been hurt all season. Same with Raphael Varane. Been hurt all season. I mean, Lisandro Martinez. Yeah. So, I mean, they have a bunch of good youngsters coming up, and we'll get into that when we get into the game against Newcastle, but Yeah, man. Part of me after watching the Newcastle game is like, give him a chance.
Give him another year, huh?
Give him another year.
Save some
He
money.
can't be it. I'll put it this way: he can't be as bad as Old Trafford is.
Falling down.
Falling down. I mean, you see the Newcastle fans; they wore goggles today.
I did see that. They're about to go for a swim. Did you see that meme also? It was like Old Trafford, it showed the water pouring down. It was like, oh, it's the 6th tallest waterfall in England or something like that.
I did see that one.
Hilarious. But let's go to Man City, who honestly are scoring goals for fun.
Yeah.
They're just a machine, man. I mean, that's really the only way to describe them. They put, most recently, 2 past Tottenham. Before that, 4 past Fulham. 5 past Wolves. 4 past Brighton. 2 past Forest. I mean, they're just going about their business. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't lost since December 6th. Like, they're a machine when it comes to the second half of the season. And we were saying that come the turn of the year, City are going to be there at the end of the season, no matter what happens. And it's going to be who slips up the least. And so far, it's them going down to the last match of the season. Not to mention, the goal difference, what was that, like 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, was like 12, 15. Now it's 1.
Yeah.
It's 1.
That's why I mentioned those score lines. They've been scoring goals.
Yeah. I mean, they overtook Arsenal for most goals scored. They're at 93 now. Arsenal are at 89. So
yeah, I mean, then they have players stepping up. Holland's scoring goals again. How about Gavardio, man? Looks like their left back's one of their most clinical finishers.
Did you watch him in pre-match warm-ups for that Fulham game?
No, I didn't even watch that game.
He was the only defender taking shots with the strikers. And he looked better than half of the strikers with both feet. I didn't know he was that good.
Well, he's been showing it lately.
I couldn't tell you what foot he's natural with. It's insane.
I'll be honest. I did not watch that Fulham game. After I saw during the week Fulham, their training sessions was just flying fucking kites. I knew it was over.
I watched it till it was 2-0, then I turned it off. So,
I mean,
it's also at what, like 4:30 in the morning here. So I understand why you didn't wake up to watch that. I'm crazy. So,
but yeah, man. And then of course they spanked Tottenham 2-0. I guess I wouldn't say they spanked them. It was a fairly close game for the majority of it.
I would say that's a little harsh on
at 1-0
Tottenham's first half.
Son had a big chance to level
86th minute. I swear to God.
Why does he go across the goalkeeper? Go around the goalkeeper, chip him,
or near post,
or near post? Why does he go across?
I don't. Any other season, Heung-min Son puts that in the back of the net without even looking up, probably with his eyes closed. It just sums up his season for Tottenham this season. And also, I mean, I gotta give Ortega credit, man.
Saves, yeah.
He made 3 massive one-on-one saves. The Son one was easily the best chance. And Vicario
as well, man. He looked like an Arsenal fan, some of the saves he was making.
Yeah. Or Spider-Man. I couldn't tell you. He was all over the place.
He was all over the place. He had some fantastic saves. But yeah, man, I want to bring up the first goal for Man United or Manchester City. Okay.
Because Kevin De Bruyne, did you think he was offsides looking at it, watching the replays?
On replays, yeah, but of course it doesn't give the best angle.
Okay. Did you see a line drawn?
Not on the TV, no.
Isn't that VAR's job?
For it to be on my TV with lines drawn?
To draw lines? Because I saw one where they used Romero's shoulder, not his knee, and he looked offsides.
Are you saying there's some collusion?
I'm not saying collusion. I'm just saying VAR didn't do his job. Again. I mean, they cleared it 30 seconds after he scored it.
Yeah.
Whereas in every other game the entire week, it took 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes on something that close. Just saying.
You heard it here first. Red Beer's talking collusion.
I'm just saying this is one of the reasons why I would rather have automated. Wow, the beer is really getting to me. Semi-automated offsides and get rid of VAR. Or just put all of the control in the ref's hands and just be like, hey, go look at the monitor. And that's it. VAR gets 0 power. 0.
But what do you think about the goal? So obviously you told me your first goal. What about the PK that was given? Pretty obvious foul.
Yeah. But what about that ball by Foden?
Yeah.
Holy cow. That thing was above his head, and he hits it on a dime to Jeremy Doku. After that, I mean, it was poor defending. After that, it was going to be a penalty 10 times out of 10 after that. So, what about the Romero challenge on Ederson?
I would call that more a collision. They were both going for the ball.
So, yeah, I know. Was it John Champion? One of the commentators said it was harsh that he even got a yellow, and I tend to agree with that because, I mean, Ederson dives at the last second.
I mean, it's a contact sport. They're both going for the ball, and it was close. And
not only that,
for it, yeah.
But he hits him in the hip or inner thigh, not even close to his feet. Like if Romero hits him with his feet, that's a red card all day because his studs were up, as they always are when he tackles anybody. But always. But yeah.
Ederson was not happy about coming off either. Did you see his little...
And Pep said after... Yeah, I did. And what about Betancourt's?
Betancourt's too, man.
That was me. That was me when Son missed that chance. Throwing everything, stomping chairs.
Yeah. Putting holes in chairs with his cleats, yeah.
I felt it, man. That was me too. But, yeah, I mean, Spurs, being Spurs, I mean, they could go as low as 7th, man. Their season's not over. It could go from bad to really bad, real quick. I guess it's 6th now.
They play Sheffield though for the final game.
They do, but at the same time, it's like, let's be honest. It would be a very Spurs thing to do to just be like, yeah, well, we had nothing to play for, and Sheffield United would be like, well, let's end on a high. We're already relegated.
But they do have something to play for. They're trying to keep that Europa League spot, which, I mean, let's be honest, it looks like they will.
I think they will, but, like, what a terrible thing that would be for them. And speaking of terrible things, I mean, their fans after that first goal, doing the Poznan with the Man City fans, and they're chanting, "Are you watching Arsenal fans?" Like,
yeah.
It just shows you the mentality of that club. And I think, ironically enough, Ange Postecoglou literally summed it up as well as it could be in saying that their foundation is built on fragility. I think it was. I'm paraphrasing. But, yeah, I mean, fragile foundation. Yeah.
Well,
both in and out of the club.
Let me ask you. Let's say the roles were reversed. Arsenal's playing Man City. If they beat Man City, Tottenham win the Premier League. Would you root for your team?
If Arsenal has a chance to be in the Champions League at that point, I'm going with I don't give a shit about Tottenham. I really don't. Which also, hypothetically, they're never going to be in that spot, so this is very hypothetical.
It's just hard to root for a goal to go in against the team you root for. That you're cheering for. That's your team. It's hard to want a goal to go in against them.
At my core, I fucking hate losing. Pardon my language, but like I hate losing more than anything. I want to win. So I want Arsenal to win. I do not want them to lose, no matter what the outcome is. Like if you were to say, if Arsenal wins this game somehow, they're relegated, I would still want them to win the match. I don't care. Win.
Yeah. That's
it. It just shows you how small of a club Tottenham is, where their fans only care about one thing, is that their rivals don't win anything at the expense of their own club. That's just a small-minded mentality. And credit to Big Ange. Like, after watching his press conference, I couldn't love him more. for top. Like, he's like, I don't care what anybody wants. He's like, some of my staff were saying that we should lose this match so Arsenal don't do well. Some of the players were acting relaxed, like they didn't care. He's like, I want to win. I don't care. I just want to win. Like, good for him.
Which should be the mentality of a top level coach.
He's like, and then he goes down. He's like, in the halls, there's no like runners up or bragging rights trophies in these halls. I'm like, no shit.
There's no trophies in those halls. But yeah, it was an interesting one to see the fans do that, because it's just amazing how rent-free Arsenal lives in Tottenham fans' heads. Yeah. It really is.
They're a little bug under the shoe of Arsenal.
Apparently.
Does Arsenal squish them, or do they narrowly escape? That's pretty much how it is every season.
But let's move on to the relegation battle, which has pretty much been decided. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the only chance Luton stands is overturning a winning and Forest losing and overturning a 12-goal difference. I've never seen that happen ever. I've seen like 7, but not 12. So, yes, I'm going to go with they're all but relegated at this point.
Well, I got news for you, man. Luton are going to win 10-0, and Burnley's going to beat Tottenham 2-0.
Who do Forest play? You said Burnley.
Burnley. They play Burnley, yeah.
They play Burnley. I mean, Burnley could win 3-0 and Luton win 10.
Doubtful, though. Doubtful.
No, I don't think that's actually
No. No, I don't think so either. So it looks like it'll be Sheffield, Burnley, and Luton. 3 teams promoted. Going right back down.
Right back down.
Forest making it by the skin of their teeth, man. Which, if I'm being completely honest, like, Forest do have the better players. You think of, Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White, Awoniyi, Murillo, World Cup winner, Montiel.
Your favorite player.
God, I hate him.
I know.
But
yeah, it's like, is it because of money why the gap is so big between all these clubs? Because, I mean, Burnley ran away with the championship last season, and they were arguably the worst team for most of the season this season.
I think it was their lack of adapting their play, man. They had the way they wanted to play, and they were going to play it. And they got punished for playing that way in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So Sheffield just weren't good enough. They didn't have good enough players. I mean, let's be honest. At least Luton, I feel like what they did was smart the way they went about it. Picking up a few pieces
fun to
here.
Watch.
Picking up
fun to watch.
Ross Barkley, getting a loan for Sambi Lokonga. I do think they have Premier League quality players in Morris, Kaminsky, Adebayo, Doherty. We'll see if they can hold on to them. But I guess I have a question for you. Out of the 3 teams that have gone down,
yeah,
which one do you think is the most likely to come back up?
I mean, I want to say Luton, but I'm going to say Burnley, because if they play the same way that they played in the championship season prior, with the quality that they're playing against, they'll do it again. You have turned me into a Luton fan, man.
Isn't it weird? I feel like Luton were kind of one of those teams that everyone was cheering for.
Yeah.
And kind of hoping would make it out of the scrap. Like, you could give 2 shits about Sheffield, Burnley. They've been here before. But it was Luton. It was almost like, oh, come on, Luton.
I mean, Sheffield United is the worst defense in Premier League history with 1 game left.
With a game left against
Tottenham,
yeah.
They scored only 35 goals in 37 matches. You're not going to survive doing that.
Their goal difference is almost double that of Burnley's, who's in 19th.
Negative 66. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Sheffield United will make it back up next season.
I don't think so either.
I think Luton and Burnley will probably do it. But, I mean, there's some good up-and-coming teams in the championship, so we'll see how it goes next season. I'm very excited to see, Ipswich, Leicester City, and whoever wins the, richest game on earth.
Yeah.
Leicester City, we love to see them back in the Premier League, and I'm excited to see Ipswich because they're like Luton. Small stadium, fun to watch. Don't think that they're going to be very good, but it could be one of those things where, just like Luton, they give teams some problems.
And yeah, kind of going over the other teams that were in that relegation fight for a bit. Forest, something needs to change with them, man. They really have to address that. We'll see if Nuno can start getting a little bit better out of those players. You had Everton, who credits Sean Dyche, man, with the points deductions, got out of that relegation scrap. I mean, with 40, they had 40 points, so they were a good 14 points. They're 14 points clear currently. But I mean, with another 8 points, man, they'd be up in like 12th or 13th.
11th. They have a better goal difference than Bournemouth.
Okay.
So they'd be in 11th, which is, for Everton side battling relegation again last season, pretty damn good. Which also, as a neutral or as an Arsenal fan, with Everton being one of the most informed teams in the Premier League coming into last weekend, Arsenal, it scares me a little bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, at the Emirates?
Yeah. Deep down in my lack of a soul, Everton scare me a little bit for as an Arsenal fan watching them play against United, even though they never got out of, I would say, first gear. Not even second. So.
And then Brentford, kind of the other team down there, really regressed this season.
They were better off without Ivan Toney as well.
They kind of were. And they have some fantastic players in Mbomo and Visa.
Ben Mee.
Ethan Pinnock, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
they did have quite a few injuries. I know Ben Mee's been out for
forever. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they do next season. How much they sell Ivan Toney for, or if he even leaves at all. I mean, it's kind of gotten quiet on the rumor front for him, so we'll see.
All right, well, let's move on to some of these European places because we still have a couple to be decided, but I think they're probably going to end up where they are now in Tottenham and Villa. Chelsea getting that Conference League spot.
But yeah, Chelsea, I mean, I would say if Manchester United somehow wins the FA Cup, they could still get a European spot. So,
yeah, but are they going to beat Man City?
I don't think so, but Eric Ten Hag seems to think they stand a chance. So,
yeah, he also thinks his side's one of the most entertaining, and
they are. They are one of the most entertaining, but not for the reason he thinks. They allow so many
shots, yeah, on target, on goal. So Liverpool, I mean,
let's dig into this Liverpool and Aston Villa game, man, because this has this might be up there for one of my votes for match of the season, man. This game was so much fun to watch.
Go on, man.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going. I was going to say, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to keep going. Go on.
Starts off with a horrible Emi Martinez howler.
Yeah, so what was that? Not even a minute and a quarter into the match?
It was a couple minutes in, yeah. It was early.
Was that Harvey Elliott hits a cross, takes a deflection, hits Emi Martinez. He literally grabs it in his chest.
Catches it and then falls and then it
grabs it in his chest and it squirts out and then he knocks it into his own goal. Like if he didn't touch the ball and just like let it bounce, he probably could have got up and walked over and picked it up. But instead he hits it into the goal. He becomes the only player in Premier League history to score 3 own goals in a season as a goalkeeper.
I did see that stat, yeah.
And then we got, this one ended 3-3. And then I know we didn't say that before, but I mean, this game was all over the place. I think Villa should have had 7, 8, or 9 goals in this one.
Could have had a couple more, that's for sure.
Holy cow. But going to the other side, what happened to Liverpool, man? They spent the most time on top of the Premier League this season. They had it all in their hands. I know we've talked about it before, but what were the causes of this besides the implosion?
The injuries probably had something to do with it. I mean, we were talking about was it the FA Cup against Chelsea? I think it was, where they played really well.
United.
Maybe it was a Carabao Cup. I don't remember it.
Yeah,
but it was
final.
all the youngsters playing in some cup final.
That was the Carabao Cup final, yeah.
It was the Carabao Cup final. So all those youngsters playing well. They played well for a game, but then, over over time, young players make mistakes. It's just how it is. Make mistakes, you learn.
I mean, I would argue they were actually, it was until their players came back when they started to actually struggle.
Well, it was right after that game that it just started going downhill after that Carabao Cup final. And then you're not wrong. The players that came back have been terrible, have been out of form. Mo Salah being one of them. Szoboszlai has not been good since pretty much the new year. I mean, the only Allison has been in and out of the squad. Darwin Nunez took a fall off a cliff as well. He was actually doing something, and then he tanked. Haven't seen much from Luis Diaz or Jota. Cody Gakpo has been popping up with the odd goal. I don't think Endo is really the answer for a team of Liverpool stature. So, yeah, I mean, do you want me to keep going? Joe Gomez is playing right back.
I 100% agree with you. I'm just going to back you up a little bit here.
Okay,
just in case someone decides to argue with us. I mean, so let's go back to their front three, right? We got Nunez, Salah, and Diaz. After those injuries piled up, they came back. I mean, Nunez is second in the Premier League in big chances missed in 27. Second.
Okay.
Only behind Erling Haaland, which also he's leading the league in scoring, so no one cares about that. Mo Salah's 8th, by the way, with 15. And Diaz is 12th with 12. So their top 3 are in the top 15. They're the only team with their front 3 in the top 15. Explains a lot, right?
It's just poor form, missing chances.
Yeah. And then you got Endo. As much as I love him as a player, he's not your typical Liverpool bruising center defensive midfielder. Like he just doesn't do that. He's always there. Like Roy Kent, he's everywhere. But he's just not that guy who's going to put in a crunching tackle, set the tone for you. That's what Liverpool needed.
And let's be honest, I just don't think he's good enough. As harsh as that is, I just don't think he's good enough.
If they can go out and sign one.
But I have seen some stinkers from him too.
Yeah, where he just goes missing.
Or makes mistakes.
I mean, he will make a great bench player next season if they go out and sign a better defensive midfielder. I will say that.
Yeah.
And then side note, I don't know how Virgil van Dijk got included in this year's finalists for player of the season and Rodri missed out. Just going to throw that out there. I know last episode we covered that, but we didn't have enough time for me to say that. I don't get it. And then I think a lot of it, too, has to do with the timing of Klopp's farewell. If he had said it with 5 games left, they would probably have won the league.
I don't think he should have said it at all, but I think it probably would have come out. But you're right.
I think if he was going to do it, should have done it after their last match at Anfield. Winning the title and telling them, sorry, I won't be back next season. Let's party until the break of dawn.
Do you think it adds more pressure to the players to perform with that?
I would go with both sides. Pressure and the fact that they're like, well, you're leaving at the end of the season, so I don't have to listen to you. Or if there's any rifts between the manager and a player, like we saw with Mo Salah, that it exacerbates the problem, right? It just makes it worse. So, I agree with that. Yeah, and then, Villa making Champions League for the first time in 41 years.
4th place. You called it, man. Kudos to you for that prediction at the beginning of the season.
Thank you.
I got to give you that one. Good job.
Thank you. I mean, we also both picked Chelsea to finish in the top 4, but we'll get into that in a later episode when we go over our predictions and how they panned out. But yeah, I mean, Unai Emery, 2nd season in the Premier League. I mean,
with Villa,
Champions League for that Aston Villa squad, I would have guessed. I mean, I did.
You did, though.
It was a guess. It was a guess. So I got to ask you because, we saw Newcastle fall off this season playing in the Champions League. However, Newcastle didn't play in Europe the season before. Villa played in the Europa Conference League, got to the semifinals, still finished 4th. Do we see them pull a Newcastle and fall off as much as Newcastle did this season?
Probably so. Just because I don't think they have the squad depth. There's a big difference from Europa Conference League to Champions League. I mean, I don't know who Aston Villa played in the Conference League, but Newcastle were playing PSG,
Olympiacos is who they lost to. So.
AC Milan, and Borussia Dortmund, who are in the final. So I mean, it's a little bit different caliber team you're facing. It takes a little bit more energy, a little more toll on the body. So I expect the injuries potentially to start piling up, unless he can rotate and get that squad depth.
Yeah, a couple signings will help too. Okay, very quickly on to Brighton and Chelsea, as Chelsea would win 2-1. I mean, there's a lot of controversial calls in this one. You got, Brighton having a PK call for the challenge on Adingra. Do you think that one was a penalty?
I did not watch this game because I was watching Newcastle Man United.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was a penalty because he goes straight through him, doesn't get any of the ball. I've seen it called a million times.
I did see Reece James get a red card.
Yeah, his second game back from injury, gets his second red card, second straight red for violent conduct as he fell on the floor and kicked out at Julio Enciso, if I'm not mistaken. Which means, Targo, drum roll please, he will miss the last game of the season because he has not played more than 2 games in a row all season. And he'll also miss the first 3 matches of next season because he gets a 4-game ban.
Fun stuff.
Well done, Reece James. Set records this season. Well done. Valentin Barco, their new right back they signed in January from Argentina. I think it was River Plate. Might be Boca Juniors. 19-year-old. It's a redheaded Argentinian. I just want to say that. Yeah, holy cow, was he good in this match.
Header, that was
I was going to get to that. The Iceman himself. Whoo! Man, that was cold.
That was a good, just spectacular header. I mean,
thank you for that segue over to Chelsea. After their season they've had, going from 11th in March to potentially a Europa League spot, but almost guaranteed a European spot. I mean, is Pochettino the right man for the job now?
I certainly think so. They've been playing well. I know there's been kind of, he made a weird comment here last week where I think he was asked the question, will you be, do you think the club will want you next season? He made the comment of, well, do I want to be here next season, kind of a thing?
Well, it's because they ask him in every press conference, will you be here next season? Do you think you deserve to be here next season?
What if I don't want to be here next season? That's kind of was his response. Yeah. So
if I don't feel wanted, I don't want to be there. So I don't blame him. Also, there's plenty of bigger teams out there that he could go coach. Like
that United job.
Barcelona?
Little Javi's there.
I'm just saying. Another year? Meh. How about Bayern Munich?
Bayern Munich are looking. You're not wrong.
And then, I just want to give Poch credit. I agree with you. I think he should stay, man. He's done a great job this calendar year. Yeah.
Took him a few games to figure out that team of ragtag bunch of youngsters there.
Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, credit to him. Benched Raheem Sterling, which I didn't think he would ever do. So, all right. Lastly, Newcastle and Manchester United. The game you did watch.
I did.
Massive
watch this
win
game.
for United. Dented Newcastle's European hopes. Let's talk about that Newcastle penalty shout when Anthony Gordon got taken out by Casemiro and
Amrabat.
I believe.
It was Amrabat.
Was it a penalty? Was it a penalty?
So Tim Howard sure thought so on the halftime show, but I honestly didn't think so. I mean, yes, Amrabat clips him, but Casemiro, it was almost like he was running, Amrabat's coming from the back, Casemiro kind of comes from the side and tackles, and they all kind of slam together. But Casemiro gets a chunk of the ball, makes a fantastic tackle. But before he does, Amrabat does clip Gordon, so I could see it being given. But I'm kind of glad it didn't.
I'm going to go with, you think of the Trossard penalty shout that didn't get called where he barely taps the heel versus this one where he literally, Amrabat, takes Gordon's sock off.
He doesn't take his sock off, but where he steps, it does.
That section of his sock is gone.
Oh, those socks are all flimsy anyway.
I'm just saying. I've seen that. Games. I'm with you, and I'm glad it wasn't called because Casemiro did get the ball. But I've seen that called 9 times out of 10. That being the one.
If it was given, I wouldn't be surprised, but I am glad it was not. Just for that Casemiro tackle was awesome.
Real quick, was United's first goal the ugliest goal you've seen all season?
It was I wouldn't say it was the ugliest goal.
Here's
Manu
the
had
ball.
a nice finish.
Kobe Manu put it in the net, and he puts it right down the middle, and he still
it was
scores.
Slightly to the
Anyways,
goalkeeper's right.
Their three top players, Højlund, young guns. Sorry, Amad Diallo, Højlund, and Kobe Manu all scoring, getting stellar performances in this one. And then last question before we get on to our headlines real quick. Should Anthony Gordon be a shoo-in for the Euros for England?
Oh, yeah.
I agree. All right, Targo. Headlines to watch for Super Sunday. Let's hear them.
For me, there's only one, man. It's the title race. Manchester City have to beat West Ham. Arsenal
Come on, you Hammers!
Have to beat Everton.
I'm going to get the bubbles out. We're going to do it.
Getting the bubbles out.
We're going to Saturday night, we're going to watch Green Street Hooligans. And we're going to blow
West
bubbles Saturday morning.
Tiny
we're
bubbles.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll be Charlie Hunnam for one day. For me, yeah, does West Ham do us all a favor and show up and spoil City's day? I saw a tweet from an Arsenal fan that said at the beginning of the season that they had a dream that West Ham beat City on the last day of the season to give Arsenal the title. And it was posted at the beginning of the season.
Well, let's hope that comes true.
I hope it comes true. Like I said earlier, Everton's one of the most informed teams in the EPL right now.
Also, nothing to play for. They're feeling
Will
safe.
they ruin Arsenal's run at glory? And then can Chelsea and Newcastle close the gap on a Europa League spot? Will Sheffield United put an end and sum up Tottenham's season the way that they play? And then will Jurgen Klopp's final send-off against Wolves end on a high note?
I think it will.
I do too, but there's always a chance with that Wolves side. They did beat Manchester City, so Liverpool the way they're playing. I'm saying Liverpool the way they're playing.
I know.
It can happen. Anyways, let us know what your guys' headlines to watch are for Super Sunday. It's going to be a good one. Make sure you check out our Redbubble. See the stickers there. Posters like behind Targo there. We got hats, mugs, stickers, you name it. It's all on there. Go check it out. Brews and Banter FC on Redbubble. Make sure you check out our Instagram, our Facebook group, our TikTok, Brews and Banter FC, Brews FC on Instagram. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. And until next time, at the end of the Premier League season, see you on the other side of Super Sunday. Cheers.
Cheers.